Do you think you're better off alone?
Yo guys, what is going on? Is your boy Steez, and I'm back today to give you the gank build video for my Magicka Nightblade. Now this is an old school gank build, it's nothing like you'd see today really. You know, calurions is kind of taken over, and it's kind of depressing because if you run calurions on a gank build, I have zero respect for you whatsoever. It is it's like the dummies gank set, you know, if you run calurions, you cannot fail. So if you're here looking for the best in slot meta gank build, you're in the wrong place, okay? I'll give you that now. This is not the kind of build that you want to be messing around with if you haven't got ganking experience, because you're just going to get absolutely wrecked. Alright, so if you've got no thumbs and you run calurions, just close this video right now and go somewhere else, because this video is not for you, okay? But if you're an actual Nightblade machine like me, and you know, you can press buttons in a certain order, then you're good to go. Alright, so this isn't the best gank build out there, okay? I'm telling you that now. There's better builds, 110%, but is there a more satisfying gank build to play out there? I don't think so. Okay, this shit is so satisfying to pull off. Like, compared to calurions, this shit kills in like that. Yeah, with calurions, you're kind of relying on that stun from stealth heavy to kind of clean up the kill. Like, if you don't stun with calurions, you're probably not going to kill anyone. But with this shit, you don't even need to stun them. They are dead in a split second, just like a gank build should be. Okay, calurions is more just like a heavy attack build, if you ask me. You know, it used to be a bit of a gank set, but now it's just a heavy attack set. And gankers use it because it's brain dead. Right, anyway, so enough bitching about calurions. You can tell I've been fucking killed by it a lot recently. Oakensoul hasn't helped, but anyway, yeah, enough bitching about that. Let's move into the builds. So, I say I'm bitching about Oakensoul there, but I mean, we are running it on this build. Okay, you can run it without, but I kind of gave in to the meta recently. Since everyone else is using it, you're kind of at a disadvantage if you're not using it. And thankfully it works really nicely on this build, so yeah, I just want to give a shout out to my mate Duck, Nova Duck right now, for getting me the chapter. What a legend, made this video possible, big shout out to him. Yeah, so let's get into the build. So to start out guys, we are a high elf on this build. Obviously any race will kind of work here if you've got Oakensoul, it doesn't really matter. Oakensoul is your damage right here, so yeah, any race will work. We have got all our points into Magicka. We are just speccing as much damage as possible into this build. We are not worrying about our survivability in the slightest. We are a vamp stage 2 for the Strike from the Shadows passive, which gives you 300 weapon and spell damage when you leave stealth. No need for stage 3, we're not taking damage here if possible. Stage 4, none of that, we don't need none of that. We are using the Lover Mundus. This is just to get our pen a little bit higher up. we were sat quite low base pen with this shadow, which was what I was using before, so I decided to switch to the lover. I don't really like to cast skills like mark target before I attack. It kind of gives you gank away a bit too much, so just having that base pen really helps out. As for the food, we are running Ghastly Eyeball. You know this food if you've been on my channel before. It's what I use all the time on my bomber. Just gives us a really nice amount of mag regen, gives us no health, and gives us max Magicka. Right, so let's jump straight into these gear sets. Now, like I said, this is nothing special. This build is so basic it hurts, okay? Like if I just released this video without the build, people would be like, oh my god, what are you running? Oh my god, so OP, give me the build. You know what they're like, right? So I just thought, you know what, just bang a build video on the end. People are going to be surprised at how basic this shit is. So we are running 5 pieces of New Moon Acolyte. This is just going to give us loads of flat damage, a nice little bit of pen, just nice stats overall, okay? Loads of upfront damage, no need for any procs here, at all, you know? Just get all the upfront damage you can. We've gone 6 medium, 1 light. Now, obviously, if you've got 9 traits on all your gear, like I do not, then 7 medium is going to be the best thing here, but the guy who crafted my gear for me only had 9 trait in 6 medium, and the sash had to be light because, you know. We are running all of our gear divines just to pump out that max damage. All enchanted with Magicka, you know how it is by now. Now, as for the monster set, guys, we are running Ballogs. There is better options here. Obviously, this is only going to affect your in-cap damage in the rotation. But to be honest, that's where most of your damage is in this build. You know, you're going to see like 20k in-caps consistently with this shit. But if you wanted to run another monster set, you can do. I would say Slimecraw would probably be your best option here. Or maybe even something like Magma Incarnate can be really nice. However, I run Ballogs simply to buff up that penetration value on my in-cap. Since the only 3 damage abilities that we actually use in the combo is Ele Weapon, a light attack, and an in-cap. You know, the in-cap is the hardest hitting part of the combo, 110%. So, I was running Ballogs just to boost that damage as high as possible. Again, you want to be medium divines with max mag enchants here, just to buff up that damage as much as possible. Alright, so for the weapons, I am running an Inferno Staff of Willpower. If you're thinking, willpower? Really, dude? Told you this build was old school. I weren't lying. I tell the truth. You know, so yeah, willpower. 9-hand fire stick. It's going to give us 10% increased single target damage, which is exactly what we want. And yeah, you can run sharpened here, but 9-hand is more damage. Just straight up against the squishier targets, especially. If you come up against a tank, obviously Sharpen's going to be more damage, like against that target. But if you're attacking tanks on this build, you're really playing it wrong. We are running a shock damage glyph on this staff. This is because, like I'd usually run Berserker, but that gives us like a weapon and spell damage increase for 5 seconds. But we don't need it, you know. They're already dead by then. The shock glyph is just nice because it gives you that upfront damage as well as access to minor vulnerability for the in-cap, which is way better than Berserker glyph in my opinion. Now to get this as a 3-piece, we just run 1 piece of jewelry. Now on our jewelry we are running triple infused spell damage to buff up that damage as high as possible. I'll show you a fully buffed stat sheet here in just a second once we're done with the build video. So we are running a necklace there of willpower, infused spell damage. Obviously you might not be able to get this gold if you are a bit of a cheapskate, but like I say, you don't need it. Like purple is enough, even maybe blue. I mean, you'll probably still slap. I'm just a bit of a fucking freak when it comes to gilded gear out, a bit OCD. Like, especially jewellery and weapons, man. I don't really care about gear, especially on gank builds where resistances don't matter, but anything that can, like, really affect my damage, I'm a bit OCD about gilding it out. Next, of course, we are running the Oakensoul ring, bread and butter to ganking at the moment. Major force and major berserk, major courage. Just so strong. So strong for a One Piece. You've already seen people, talk about and use this set. Every build video on YouTube has it right now. Is this build viable without it? Probably not, honestly. I mean, I haven't tried it. I'd be a fool to try it without it. If you've got it, you might as well use it. And if you haven't got the chapter, like, I don't even know why you're still playing the game. I don't even know how you're playing without Oakensoul at the moment. Ever since I got Oakensoul, I started slightly enjoying the game again. I was going through a bit of a rut with everyone else running Oakensoul and me not having access to it. But thanks to my friend Duckman, I can now sweat with all the sweat lords and run the meta. So here we are. But you know me, in typical Steve's fashion, I try to avoid very, very meta. And try and recreate it in my own kind of way. And I just hate calurions, man. So here we are. This is what I came up with. So for our last jewellery piece, we are running a Ring of the Trainee. This is all that there is really for a good One Piece. It doesn't really matter what you put here because the Trainee ring does not affect your damage at all. Really, it just gives you a line of health. So, if you've just got like a One Piece jewellery with an infused spell damage cliff, that's just as good as the Trainee ring. Okay, you're just going to be missing out on like 1k health, which isn't a game changer on this kind of build. Right, so that is it for the gear. Let's jump into skills. So we've only got 1 bar, like I said. So all we need is these 6 skills on our bar, and we are good to go. So we have got, firstly, elemental weapon. This is the bread and butter to the gank, really. This is just going to give us a nice burst amount of damage with our light attack. Could you use crushing weapon for the major breach? Yeah, of course you could. Now, I'm not saying elemental weapon's better. I just really like elemental weapon. Okay, it's a Magicka skill, so it helps with our keeping our sustain and not running out of stamina, because we do sneak a lot on this build as well, so running a stamina spammable just seemed like a one-way ticket to just dying. Sure, the major breach can be nice, but you're only going to get it applied to your incap, and I find, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could try it out and see how you feel. Either morph, they both hit the same, but I just like elemental weapon. So next we have got spell symmetry. Now, this is from the Mage's Guild skill line, and I use this simply to get empower before I go in for a gank. This isn't a game changer. It kind of is. Like, you could probably play the build without it, but you'll have a lot less success rate. That 40% increase in damage to the light attack is kind of huge, especially on a gank build. Even if it's just adding 2k damage or 3k damage, it cleans up, That 3k can be the difference between them dying and not dying. So definitely use this if you can get your hands on it. If you don't have this skill, then you're kind of fucked, to be honest. I mean, you need it, yeah. It's definitely needed for the build. Mage's Guild 8, I think it is as well, so I'm sorry if you've got this far and you're like, oh shit, I need to farm Mage's Guild 8. Yeah, I feel you, brother. I feel you. It's not nice. For our next skill, we are running Channeled Acceleration. This is going to give us minor force. As you know, the Oakensoul stacks heavy into crit damage, so minor force, nice to have. And we like the speed buff. playing this build without speed is kind of rough. I was running Impale here at the start, and then I realised I didn't even need it, because Oakensoul is just that broken. You do not need an execute on this build. So I went with Channeled Axel here. Our next skill, Shadowy Disguise, you know what it is, bread and butter Nightblade skill. And lastly, we have got our Burst Heal, and the one that gives us minor mending. Healthy Offering, that's the one. The best Burst Heal in the game. I was buzzing when this change came through for Magblade, probably one of the best changes to happen in years. And no one really cared about it that much when it happened. I was kind of surprised. Magblade's been broken ever since this change came through, in my opinion. The burst heals you can get out of this, I've seen 20Ks. I've seen 20Ks on this build. You can 20k burst heal from 0 to full. It's that simple. And finally we are running Soul Harvest. Why Soul Harvest and not Incap, you ask? Sure, Incap's got a stun attached to it, and you get all those other little benefits for running Incap. But Soul Harvest gives us 10 ultimate when we kill someone. And obviously we're stacking Major Heroism on this build. So that means, basically after you kill someone, you've got another Incap ready. And if you don't, you will after a potion, because you get the 20 ultimate when you pop a potion as a Nightblade. So that just means, yeah, you can just keep going and going and going and going. And also it's got Major Defile attached to it, which is kind of broken. Especially if you don't actually manage to delete them in a second, if they are a tank, or if they've got Corrosive or Shield ult up or something like that. That Major Defile is just going to stop them from being able to heal back up to full. Another Ellie weapon or two and they are down. Right, so that's it for the skills, guys. Let's jump into CP real quick. So green CP, whatever, the roleplay tree, do whatever you want here. An important mention is the reduce radius detection of sneak. If you're not a vampire, the sneak speed one is really handy. However, if you're not a vampire, I just suggest you go and be a vampire. It makes playing Nightblade so much easier and more enjoyable. And reduce the cost of sneak, also really handy. And movement speed outside of combat, again, really really handy, because you are in combat for literally a split second while you're ganking them. So you pretty much see a constant buff from this slottable. Red tree is what it is. The only two that you really need is Celerity and Bastion. Bastion's just going to increase your damage done by 15% against anyone with a shield. Obviously, that means if you're targeting someone that's got shields, you don't necessarily have to worry about not being able to kill them. And Celerity again, just stacking that movement speed, nice to have as a Magblade. As for your other slottables in the red tree, they're kind of personal preference, whatever you like to use. I'll show you what I'm using right here. And as for the blue tree, the only really important tree here for the damage, we've got Deadly Aim, which is going to boost our single target damage by 6%. Lovely to have. Next we have got Master at Arms, increasing our direct damage by 10%. Again, this applies to all of our combo. Then we have Fighting Finesse. This is going to increase our crit damage and our crit healing by 8%, which is nice on a build like this, where you're guaranteed a crit from stealth. And the crit healing really helps out with getting those big juicy burst heals. And our last slottable is Backstabber. Now you can pretty much guarantee this on a build like this, because unlike with something like an AoE build that I'm used to playing, where they kind of dictate where you have to be in order to get your full most damage out kind of thing. With a build like this, you can kind of just play around them and circle around them as you kill them, and and you can pretty much just walk through them as you gank them to get this passive to apply. Now if you wanted to run something else, if you're finding that you can't stay on top of people and get behind them as you gank them, Wrathful Strikes is also really good. That adds about 200 weapon and spell damage to your attacks, which is just as good as this, if not better when you're not critting, obviously, because even if you're behind them, you're not guaranteed a crit on all your attacks. So this is arguably a better CP to run here. But if you're an OG like me and you want to see those big numbers, 20k in caps and shit, defo run Backstabber. So that's it for the build, guys. Like I say, it's not an easy play. If you're not used to playing Nightblade and you're not used to builds like this, then you might have a rough time. But like I say, it is very satisfying to pull off. Much more satisfying than the usual calurions bullshit you see on YouTube. So if you've got big hairy balls and you want to give it a go, definitely give it a try. It's very fun. You know me, I don't make builds that are boring to play. That's why you'll never see any calurion shit on my channel, or any like werewolf builds, or anything that's just boring and brain dead, you know. I always like to release fun builds, so if you enjoy fun builds that perhaps take a little bit more time to master, but you are going to get more fun out of it and enjoyment out of it because it's way more satisfying to pull off. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to leave you all here. If you've got this far, thank you for staying through the whole video and watching it out till the very end. I appreciate you all, you're all awesome. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps push this video to people who might enjoy it, and really helps me out as a creator. If you've got any questions, please do comment below. I get back to every single one of you, okay? And reading some of your comments really does just make my day sometimes. The next video I post will be small scale Revenant's PvP gameplay from recent. I'm looking forward to that. If you want to come check me out on Twitch, make sure you give me a follow. I've nearly got affiliate, so please do come and support me if you can. It's twitch.tv/steez_ESO. I stream every Tuesday and every Thursday at 10 PM Universal Time. And even on the other days, I sometimes stream as well. So please do give me a follow. Make sure you click that bell to make sure you know when I'm going live. And I am trying to get this set up to YouTube so that I can link Twitch and YouTube. So you'll also see those streams here soon. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you all have a lovely day. This has been your boy Steez. Peace.